Jupiter, the largest of all planets, is known for its ability to widen our perspectives. He is a great teacher, helping us to grow in ways that magnify the awareness and good fortune in our lives. He helps us move beyond our limits to realize the amount of opportunity that is available to us. When Jupiter moves through the independent and pioneering sign of Aries, we are re-energized on a personal level. We are focused on ourselves as individuals and are eager to satisfy our needs for happiness in whatever way that means to each of us personally. When you are willing to listen and to learn, Jupiter in Aries can teach you more about yourself than you can imagine. Hi lovely viewers, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we will be discussing one of the most pivotal shifts in the planetary energies of 2023, which is the transit of Jupiter in the sign of Aries. This marks a new cycle of the 12-year transit of Jupiter through the whole zodiac belt. Hence, this ushers in the energies for new beginnings and ending of old cycles. Jupiter will be in the sign of Aries from the 22nd of April 2023 until 30th of April 2024. And during this time period, it will be conjunct with Rahu 30th of October 2023 in the sign of Aries, forming the infamous Guru Chandal Yoga in astrology. What you must understand about the concept of this is that in astrology, Jupiter signifies expansion and benevolence, while Rahu denotes magnification of focus and obsession. So both of these energies work on expanding the horizons of your understanding of yourself, as it is in the sign of Aries representing self. Both of these planets are in the nakshatra of Ashwini, which has the primary undertones relating to healing and regeneration according to the astrological myths and folklores associated with this nakshatra. Hence, this is the perfect time for us to work on healing our inner child, as Aries is the first sign in the zodiac and is considered to be exuding the energy of a child. This also shows that as Jupiter denotes knowledge and luck, while Rahu represents unconventionality, so combining these two energies, we must focus on attaining novel knowledge on subjects that are undiscovered, which are things like, let's say, artificial intelligence, which perfectly encapsulates these energies. The bottom line being that your focus and attention will be redirected towards growing and learning about yourself. Our minds are on fire during Jupiter in Aries, ignited with innovative ideas and lightning bolts of intuition. This is an opportunity to let go of the limits of our past and come up with new solutions for the future. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac and is always willing to step fearlessly into uncharted territory. During this transit, we see possibilities to better ourselves that we simply could not see before. With Jupiter in Aries, it's not about taking our time slowly to map out a strategic plan, but rather it's about feeling the spark of inspiration and running with it. Jupiter in Aries is more about self-teaching and self-learning. We must not be afraid to take risks and try things, whether we feel prepared or not. Trying and succeeding and trying and failing are both valuable ways of learning and growing. In fact, it may be even harder to maintain attention in a traditional teacher and student educational setting during this transit because we need to learn things our own way. During Jupiter's transit through the sign of Aries, we make our own luck. When we embrace the power we have to control the direction of our lives, we are able to open up to opportunities, solutions, relationship, and fortune that we were blind to before. Jupiter wants us to expand and embrace our potential as individuals and realize that we each hold the key to our big, bright, and happy futures, but it is up to us to put in the lock and turn. Now that we have discussed what we can all experience on a personal level when this transit takes place, let us also look into how this transit is going to impact us as a collective on a worldwide level. And for that, we will analyze and evaluate what events took place in the year 2011 when Jupiter was in Aries last, and then compare it to what energies we see being repeated in that cycle in 2023. Let us start out with something that took place recently, which is the earthquake in New Zealand. And when we trace back the clock to 2011, we notice the presence of another earthquake of a much stronger intensity that took place in Japan that year. Not that this means that these earthquakes are taking place because of this planetary energy, but it is just a comparison in the similarities of events that took place in 2011 and now into 2023 when Jupiter is in Aries. Next, we move to another one of the recent happenings, which was regarding the surrender and consequent imprisonment of the criminal Amritpal Singh, who was being chased by the Indian authorities. And along the same tangent, we see that in 2011, one of the greatest surgical operations took place when the then US President Barack Obama ordered for the execution of the terrorist Osama Bin Laden. Next being the recent peacemaking efforts that took place when the NATO chief visited Ukraine and showed his support in the appeal for inclusion presented by President Zelenskyy. And on the same track, we see that in 2011, another effort undertaken by NATO to maintain order and world peace was done when they interjected the Libyan Revolution between the rebel groups fighting against the tyrannical regime of Muammar Gaddafi to safeguard the citizens. The next similarity of patterns takes place in the field of finance, as we notice that in the year 2023, there has been an incidence of mass layoffs, leading to increased unemployment and also an economic downturn at the heels of inflation and underperforming GDP projections by IMF. In the same manner, in the year 2011, the financial markets were at an all-time low, which created issues regarding inability to lower national debt and subsequent degradation of credit rating lending, leading to unemployment. Now, when it comes to the field of scientific progress being made, we see very interesting recurring patterns. Let's start with the latest buzz made in the world of astronomy when Elon Musk created the SpaceX rocket Starship, which failed to take flight, but despite that is being considered as a success in progress to uncharted waters of making tangible discoveries about Mars. And when we check the advancements made in the year 2011 in the field of astronomy, we see that NASA's Kepler mission discovering similar themes of habitable zones of Earth-like planets, and also advancement of NASA's Dawn spacecraft to enter the orbit of giant asteroid Vesta. Next, when it comes to the field of technological advancements, we see that ChatGPT has come out with the new model of GPT-4 that undertakes deep learning to generate human-like texts, while in 2011 we see that on a similar line, IBM created Watson, which was essentially an AI model of question-answering computer system capable of answering questions posed in the natural language. Lastly, in the field of medicine, we see that advancements are being made in countering heart failure at an accelerated pace in 2023, while similar initiatives were undertaken in 2011 to research on expanding lifespan of heart disease patients and also groundbreaking advancements in finding cures for retroviral diseases like AIDS. We have until now covered what are the general themes and energies that Jupiter's transit in Aries will present us with, how to use these energies on a personal level when it is conjunct with the energies of Rahu, and also on a worldwide level, what will we experience as a shift takes place with the initiation of this new cycle of Jupiter's transit in Aries as a collective on similar patterns as it was last in the sign of Aries in 2011. We will now move on to discussing personalized predictions for all zodiac signs and discuss how Jupiter in Aries will manifest for you, including the effect of all of its aspects on your sign. Jupiter will move into the sign of Aries and your first house. This is generally a really positive omen for how luck and benevolence will be bestowed on you by the most benefic planet in astrology. But this Jupiter will also get conjunct Rahu, which is already transiting through the sign of Aries in your first house, forming something called a Guru Chandal Yoga in astrology. What this means is that you are now going to question and adopt very differing and eclectic ideals and philosophies, especially but not restricted to your religious, spiritual, or philosophical ideals and beliefs. And this is going to pave the way for how you want your personality to be perceived by others. This is going to be a time wherein the planet of expansion, that is Jupiter, and the planet of obsession, that is Rahu, is going to give you an inexplainable want of working on yourself and adopting guidance from gurus or mentors to help you in some soul searching. Jupiter from your first house puts its third aspect onto firstly the fifth house with its fifth aspect, secondly the seventh house with its seventh aspect, and lastly the ninth house with its ninth aspect. When Jupiter puts its fifth aspect onto the fifth house, it means that you will want to indulge in studying of material on religious, spiritual, or philosophical beliefs, and you will also adopt very unconventional approaches to having these ideals shape your personality. You will also feel a magnification of your romantic interests, wherein you might attract or be attracted to the kind of people who are not your usual type, and your dating philosophy can also change during this period. If you want children, then this can also be a possible good time for you to conceive them, and if you already have kids, then your relationship with them will also get better, wherein they will look up to you as a mentor. You can also adopt unconventional and eclectic investment strategies for putting your money into instruments of speculative gains, like crypto or the stock market. You also can be quite inclined to go deeper into soul searching and finding out the karmic knots in relation to your birth. Next, Jupiter puts its seventh aspect onto the seventh house and also the transiting Ketu until the 30th of October. This can show that the propensity to meet the kind of partner, be it romantic or business partner, that feels like you know them from a previous life. It will feel like deja vu, wherein you will instantly bond and connect with this person, but this can be a very karmic connection for you, set in your path of evolution as a test. You will feel like you are being pulled into directions of whether you should focus on your self-evolution or should you give into bonding with this magnificent person unlike any that you have ever been with before. Lastly, Jupiter puts its ninth aspect onto your ninth house, which means that you can now want to pursue higher educational courses in places of different cultural backgrounds than the one that you were born in. And this can also signify that you could suddenly stop or change the course that you have already undertaken because your newer development of interests and how you want your education to become an extension of your personality and perception as well. You can also have better relations with your father during this time period. You can also discover quite an unusual or just simply different than the usual mentors or gurus during this time. But don't blindly put your trust at this time though. You can be deceived if you are not careful or thorough in your decision-making process. Jupiter moves into the sign of Aries and your 12th house on the 22nd of April 2023. Jupiter, which is the most beneficial planet in astrology, is moving into your house of long distance travel, loss, dreams, and health. Now, what happens here is that two very opposing yet somehow similar planets get in conjunction in your 12th house as Jupiter in Aries gets conjunct with the already present Rahu there, making something called a Guru Chandal Yoga in astrology. which means that you are now going to question and adopt very differing and eclectic ideals and philosophies, especially but not restricted to your religious or spiritual ideals, which is just a progression in your journey with these ideals, since Saturn's challenges before presented in the ninth house of religious or spiritual or philosophical beliefs. This is going to be a time wherein the planet of expansion, that is Jupiter, and the planet of obsession, that is Rahu, is going to give you an inexplainable want of escaping troubles by traveling far and wide and indulging in some soul searching. Planet of Jupiter, it becomes more important as to where it aspects in your chart rather than just the sign or house that it is placed in. So all the major planets in astrology have the seventh aspect given to them. But as Jupiter, being a special planet, gets two sets of special aspects as well. Wherever Jupiter is placed in your chart, it will have three aspects, which is the fifth, seventh, and ninth aspect, which simply means that it will impact or influence the houses or planets that are placed 5, 7, and 9 places away from itself. So Jupiter aspects from the 12th house firstly falls on your 4th house and the sign of Leo by its 5th aspect. What this means is that you might have some sort of renovations or expansions of the structure of your home taking place that could lead you to put a lot of finances into the project. And also this can mean that on this spiritual journey of questioning your philosophies, your parents or someone from your family can come in as an aid to guide you, or you may help someone on their journey as well. It can lead you to revamp your personality and beliefs and how your self-image and ego is tied in with these ideals. Secondly, Jupiter from your 12th house aspects the 6th house and the sign of Libra, as well as the transiting Ketu until 30th of October. What this means is that your focus will solely be on your own self rather than trying your best to sustain your relationships. Not that you will do this intentionally, but somehow you are subconsciously more inclined towards exploring your identity and philosophies or beliefs. You will also not be able to connect or feel out of place within the network circle that you have, basically of your work colleagues. You could also have these health issues pop up, which might lead you to really question the kind of effect the company of people in your surrounding have on you. In matters of loans or debts, you have to be careful of not losing out on more money because of missing your installments and subsequently getting into trouble financially because of that reason. Lastly, Jupiter from your 12th house is also putting its 9th aspect onto your 8th house and the sign of Sagittarius. This shows that there is going to be some divine intervention that Jupiter is going to put in place for you during the worst challenges or unexpected changes you might suffer, so as to be able to help you out or protect you during that phase of darkness and transformation. You are going to dive deeper into the studies of occult subjects to be able to discover where you are going in your religious or spiritual journey. This also means that someone could be possibly helping you out financially during times of distress or loss, and it will come at a sudden time by an unexpected person who could be your guide or mentor. You could also be reevaluating how you connect with people intimately and bringing unconventional changes to that realm. For you, Jupiter will be transiting your 11th house of financial gains and network circle. This means that you will see an abundance in how you can catalyze on making more money, and probably this happens through an increase in the friend or network circle around you. You will see that people look at you in a positive light, and this proves favorable for your luck and abundance as your wish fulfillment takes place. But as this Jupiter is not alone here but conjunct with Rahu's obsessive unconventional focus, Hence, it can also show that you could come in contact with certain strangers over the internet that will befriend you, but you must be aware of the intentions of such people and not implicitly trust strangers during this time, especially ones who are either giving you financial advice or imparting unconventional knowledge and beliefs upon you. Trust in your intuition to know who these people are so that you can dissect your dependence on them. You can yourself become interested in gaining higher gains through employing knowledge of financial instruments online. But don't be hasty in your decision-making process regarding your finances during this time. Also focus on cultivating a better, well-rounded sense of self-identity through upgrading yourself rather than letting the ideals or opinions of people around you influence your identity and ideas. Jupiter has three aspects that it makes from the 11th house, and these are firstly to the third house by its fifth aspect. This means that you will be inclined to be openly communicative with your friends about finances and will be doing major learning through online mediums on how to increase your profits. The expansion of your network circle will align with these new interests that you inculcate. You will work hard on gaining the knowledge regarding financial freedom and investments. Secondly, Jupiter makes its seventh aspect onto your fifth house, which shows that your personality and interests will go through drastic changes as you embark on this new journey to focus on making higher financial gains, and you will be inclined to do so by investing in speculative investments like the stock market. And while you focus on upskilling, you can also come in contact with people who can start out as friends or acquaintances, but it can gradually become more romantic in nature, and you can acquire such relationship through the online mediums of communication and dating. Lastly, Jupiter makes its ninth aspect onto the seventh house, showing that this person who can be a friend and turn into a romantic connection can bring a stroke of luck and learning in your life. This person also possibly can be from a different culture than yours. If you want to start a business with any of your friends, then this can be a chance to do so, but do not make any instinctual, hasty decisions on the same. For you, Jupiter will be transiting your 10th house of career and social image. This means that you will see an amplification of people's positive perception of your knowledge and unconventional approach to working. You will be entrusted by your superiors at work to handle leadership and learning positions as your experience is positively received and acknowledged. Your image at work will improve and you will bear the fruits of it by attaining luck in case of rising through the ranks at your workplace to attain more prestige and power. But this Jupiter is not alone here, but it is conjunct with Rahu's obsessive unconventional focus. Hence, it can also show that you could attain this optimistic outlook as a means to influence people according to your plans for promotion, basically creating a false sense of superiority and competence. Stay true to yourself and do not project an alternate image that you will find hard to sustain at work. Jupiter has three aspects that it makes from the 10th house, and these are firstly to the second house by its fifth aspect. This means that you will be sure to be proven lucky in terms of amassing greater financial stability and savings through undertaking more skill and learning leadership management. It also shows the possibility of being able to learn something pivotal about your career and finances through someone in your family. Focus on how you want to correctly utilize your increased finances attained through possible promotions. Secondly, Jupiter makes its seventh aspect onto your fourth house, which shows that you will be asked to strike a balance between your commitment and presence at work as opposed to home. You will need to equalize the scales of your efforts in both the areas, be it the workplace or home. You could possibly even undertake some renovation projects at your home to modify your home, as your financial capacity and lifestyle choices become costlier. But do not succumb to a false pressure of keeping up appearances and doing such renovations to appease others or to appear differently at work through a refined sense of identity acquired from such expansions or renovations. Lastly, Jupiter makes its ninth aspect onto the sixth house, showing that your superiors will be interested to mentor you and impart knowledge that helps you to seamlessly transform into a higher paying and more rigorous job profile. You will be expected to keep up the spirits of your subordinates and colleagues without being overtly critical. Try to work on imparting constructive feedback and positive reinforcement through your newfound power and authority. Be in favorable terms with your colleagues as they will be the ones supporting your transition and efficiency. For you, Jupiter will be transiting through your ninth house of religion and higher education. This is a very positive omen for your sign as the ninth house has similar energies to the significations of Jupiter. So the amalgamation of these energies is seamless and potent. If you had any aspirations previously to undertake a higher educational course and probably do so by moving abroad to a place of different culture, then you are in the exact time frame where your aspirations will come true. You can also start to be interested in learning more about different religions, spiritual practices, and philosophical beliefs to transform your identity and ideals. You will also be in luck to have your travel plans come to fruition, and this can be a time where you undertake learning or even speak and learn a new language. But as this Jupiter is not alone here, but is conjunct with Rahu's obsessive unconventional focus, hence it can also show that you could go under drastic changes in your set of belief systems imparted by an unconventional teacher. So beware of adopting someone else's practices without proper research into it. Jupiter has three aspects that it makes from the ninth house, and these are firstly to the first house by its fifth aspect. This means that you will transform your whole perspective and personality through learning and traveling. You will adopt new educational interests and religious or spiritual practices that change your complete outlook or perception of life. It also shows that your relationship with your father and his teachings can change your perception as well. You will be adaptable and malleable at this time to change your reality in accordance of that to your guru's teachings, so make sure you acquire a good one who has selfless interest in your progress. Secondly, Jupiter makes its seventh aspect onto your third house, which shows that you can be in constant communication and networking with new people you meet on your travels or even online, wherein you will be focused on learning about your newly acquired interest from them. This also shows that in your educational pursuits, you will be determined and hardworking towards gaining excellence and will also be lucky to do so with the help of your dedicated work ethic and learning prowess. Lastly, Jupiter makes its ninth aspect onto the fifth house, showing that in your quest to learn and adopt newer religious, spiritual, or philosophical beliefs, you will be inclined to turn towards learning and exploring through the reading of ancient texts and books on the same to attain an unbiased perspective by tracing its origins. You will also be lucky in terms of aligning your education with your creative interests right now. There is also possibility of you forming a romantic connection with someone who you either meet through your travels or a newly acquired educational interest. Beware of how much you let others influence your identity and personality. For you, Jupiter will be transiting through your eighth house of transformation and profits through others' resources. This placement exhibits the energies of divine guidance and protection in times of extreme upheaval and uncertainty. You will be put in situations which require of you to transform through belief and perseverance in the time of sudden changes. This process, though, can be painful, but it will surely be rewarding, as this is basically imparting a cleansing energy in your life, wherein such situations will arise that you will no longer be able to take your unevolved self into the next phase or chapter of your life. So do not be hesitant to lean into the change happening rather than forcing predictability. It's best to see what these changes are prompting you to transform within yourself. There will be times when you feel dejected and unmotivated through tough times, which is when forces beyond you will come to your aid as long as you dedicate yourself to this transformative process. You can also turn towards gaining more knowledge of occult subjects like astrology to make sense of these testing times and gain a more spiritual perspective to your suffering. But as this Jupiter is not alone here, but conjunct with Rahu's obsessive, unconventional focus, hence it can also show that you could run into aid by the means of a person who can offer you financial means to absolve your problems. But beware of the temptation to skip through the hoops and take a shorter route to success. Evaluate the hidden intentions of who is offering to help you at this time. Jupiter has 3 aspects that it makes from the 8th house, and these are firstly to your 12th house by the 5th aspect. This means that you will transform how you view financial losses at this time and actually want to donate your resources towards attaining more peace. Through such charity, you will undertake long-distance travels to come in contact with people who are alternative healers to begin your transformative journey towards acceptance and forgiveness attained through selfless pursuit of learning. You will seek more reclusive and peaceful means to learn to attain better emotional clarity and regulation. Secondly, Jupiter makes its 7th aspect onto your 2nd house, which shows that you will be helped through your financial resources of your family at this time, if you work on maintaining a peaceful, equalized equation with them. But this also shows that your life and beliefs are changing, and so is your relationship with your family's values. So stay focused on bridging those gaps. Learn how to capitalize on the profits through financial resources of others to gain better stability. Lastly, Jupiter makes its 9th aspect onto the 4th house, showing that you can want to impart these new set of beliefs and knowledge even to your family members to gain better home equations and to be on a similar page. You can also be lucky at this time in case you want to either attain a new property with your family, possibly, or even move out of your family home abroad. Focus on how your new beliefs and learnings impact your emotional peace and clarity. Jupiter moves into the sign of Aries and your 7th house, which shows that there are going to be energies of amplification or magnifying of the matters related to your 7th house of romantic and business partnerships. But Jupiter is not going to be alone in your 7th house now, as Rahu is already going to be there, which forms a Guru Chandal yoga in astrology, which shows the conjunction of Rahu's obsessive energies with Jupiter's benevolent magnification, leading to a situation wherein the person that you could have left behind or gotten out of a relationship with will come back to you based on false pretenses or promises. And this is where you have to evaluate the situation correctly. It can make you find the right in people even when their intentions are not the best. So think twice before you jump into any relationships of the romantic or business kind as well. This is going to be a period of self-discovery for you, wherein you will have to reevaluate and balance how much of your identity and purpose is acquired and derived from your partnerships, be it romantic or business. Basically, rediscovering who you are when you are not a part of this group or pair. Your focus needs to move towards attaining the kind of people and relationships who enforce a positive outlook of yourself rather than facilitate your people-pleasing tendencies. Jupiter has 3 aspects that it makes from the 7th house, and these are firstly to your 11th house by its 5th aspect. This means that you will gain some sort of knowledge or guidance about your relationships by your friends or network circle. This is also a conducive energy to focus on capitalizing on your people and negotiation skills by expanding your network circle, and through those connections have better financial gains. Focus on how you want to grow and learn more about finance management in order to have your wishes of abundance be fulfilled. There is also a chance that while you start to focus more on yourself and getting better quality relationships in your life, you could actually stumble upon someone in your network circle who you can develop a romantic equation with. Secondly, Jupiter makes its 7th aspect onto your 1st house, which shows that you need to balance your efforts between your own personal gain and the relationships you harbor with people. Only when you strike an equilibrium between these two facets of your life can you really transform who you are as a person and see changes in your personality that make you more confident about loving yourself. Don't let others' intentions or interests overpower your own, so strike a chord between your self-worth despite how difficult it can seem in the light of Ketu being present in your 1st house, bringing disconnect from self-interest. Lastly, Jupiter makes its 9th aspect onto the 3rd house, showing that you can gain insurmountable knowledge and experience through challenging yourself in the realm of relationships. Work hard on breaking your pre-existing patterns and be open to communicating about your learnings and experiences in relationships, as it can be a way to unlock your networking and communicational skills. This transit of Jupiter activates all your air sign houses energies of the 3rd, 7th and 11th houses, which is a sign for you to be fluid and adaptive in your pursuit of a partner, but only once you achieve a true sense of self-worth. Jupiter moves into Aries and your 6th house, showing that you are now going to feel lucky in terms of your office politics and conflict, as well as blessing for your debt woes and issues. Jupiter is the most benefic planet in astrology, and for it to come into your 6th house shows that it will bring its positive energies to your work environment, wherein someone can be your mentor and help you to navigate the tricky work issues, as well as if you had any debt problems, those will also be helped out and dissipate with a guidance or help from someone. But what you must also take care of is your health, as this can also show the propensity of having your gut and intestines affected in an unfavorable way. So stay vigilant on that regard. Also, Jupiter is not alone in the 6th house, as it gets conjunct the Rahu present there already, which forms something called a Guru Chandal Yoga in astrology. What this means is that there is an amplification of Rahu's obsessive expansion and Jupiter's benevolent magnification, leading to the matters of your work environment, health, conflicts and financial dues to be at the forefront. Jupiter has 3 aspects that it makes from the 6th house, which are: firstly, it puts its 5th aspect onto the 10th house. Secondly, it puts its 7th aspect onto your 12th house. And lastly, the 9th aspect onto your 2nd house. Let's discuss each one of these individually. When Jupiter aspects your 10th house with its 5th aspect, it shows that you will have to be able to charm people at your workplace now, to be able to be in the good books of your superiors, as that will help you gain a mentor who will get you out of stickier situations. And also, the way to overcome your issues with debt will also be through someone whom you might know from work actually coming in to aid you. You will have to though put on a polished front to achieve these things. Also be able to strike a balance and keep learning further to help you scale professionally now, so that you can leave your haters behind. When Jupiter puts its 7th aspect onto your 12th house, it shows that you can actually gain some help from your work colleagues in a way that propels you to actually move to a foreign place, even in order to dissipate the tense situation at work. This also shows that you will have to be able to balance out on your expenses, otherwise you can sustain losses which can make it difficult to pay off your dues. It also shows that the connections you had at work with people can end. Also, you have to stay vigilant about your health as situations that can lead to hospitalization may happen or just general medical opinion from doctors might be taken. When Jupiter aspects your second house with its ninth aspect, it shows that you can get lucky eventually to be able to balance out on your losses and debts and finally be able to start over to be more financially stable and secure as your work conditions change, or you could move up the ranks if you play your cards right. Your family can eventually be the hidden luck factor that you need to get out of the situation, especially the financial ones. Transit of Jupiter into Aries and your fifth house, which will show that you are now going to feel the effect of Jupiter's luck and benevolence being showered on your creative efforts and speculative financial gains. But Jupiter is not going to be alone here, as it's getting conjunct with the already present Rahu in your fifth house, forming something called a Guru Chandal Yoga in astrology that shows that the conjunction of Rahu's obsessive energies with Jupiter's benefic magnification, hence causing for you to be experiencing this sort of push and pull in the dynamics of romantic connections, wherein you will feel confused so as to understand who is the person that you are dating is really like, because the image that they portray can actually be misleading. You can also have a sort of wavering effect of concentration and dedication to your educational pursuits, wherein it can get hard to stay focused on the matter or just even want to pursue the same educational disciplines or streams as you had wanted to before. And this can be a change which comes in also due to potentially being influenced by an eclectic or eccentric mentor you come in contact with. You will also have to be extremely careful not to go bullish on investing in speculative instruments despite the kind of profits that you could be potentially seeing now, as the situation might be much different eventually than it might be seeming to you now. Also, as Jupiter is Jeev Karka or life giver in astrology, hence if you have any aspirations to conceive a child, then you might be able to do so, but in a very unconventional and sudden way, like let's say an IVF or surrogacy or something of that sort. Jupiter from your fifth house puts its three aspects, firstly on the ninth house with its fifth aspect, secondly on the 11th house with its seventh aspect, and lastly on the first house with its ninth aspect. Let's discuss the effects of each of these aspects individually. When Jupiter puts its fifth aspect onto your ninth house, it shows the clear possibility of you taking a very niche or distinct course to pursue your higher education now, and this pursuit can even take you abroad. You can also modify or shift your religious, spiritual, or philosophical beliefs on the basis of the kind of study of ancient texts, and also just by coming in contact with different cultural experiences. Luck will be on your side when it comes to making profits through riskier investment instruments. Next, when Jupiter puts its seventh aspect onto the 11th house, it shows that you can actually come in contact with the kind of network circle of friends who can help you to catalyze on your financial gains and aspirations. You will also have to stay mindful of how your romantic relationships could be influencing the friendships in your life. Your partner can even broaden the horizons of your network circle as well. You can come in contact with a larger group of people who you can connect with based on similar creative interests and educational pursuits even. Lastly, when Jupiter aspects the first house with its ninth aspect, it means that you will feel quite lucky this year in terms of education and financial profits, and these things might even fundamentally change who you are as an individual. Your romantic partner can also have a significant influence on you now that can even change your personality in terms of being a better suit in that alliance. Your children can also have a profound yet unexpected effect on you during this transitory phase. Jupiter moves into the sign of Aries and your fourth house. This is a lucky transit for you as Jupiter gets even more benefic in the energies represented by the fourth house related to home and family. You will definitely be able to build on your bond with your family now, especially when it comes to your religious, spiritual, and philosophical views. You will also be able to expand and increase the perimeters of your house during this period. also a good time for you to acquire more land, potentially like a joint family land. But Jupiter is not going to be transiting alone in the fourth house, as it gets conjunct Rahu present there, forming something called a Guru Chandal Yoga in astrology. What this means is that there is an amalgamation of opposing energies of Rahu's obsession and Jupiter's benefic expansion, which can form a dichotomous energy relating to the affairs of home and family. There is surely something which can be quite unconventional with regards to your approach towards your living situation with your family or your own home if you stay away. Your relationship can go through a sort of boost which is unexpected yet pleasant. You will come to depend more on them now. Jupiter from your fourth house puts three aspects, which are firstly on the eighth house with its fifth aspect, secondly the 10th house with its seventh aspect, and lastly the 12th house with its ninth aspect. Let's discuss all of these individually. When Jupiter aspects your eighth house with its fifth aspect, it shows that you will be inclined to now study and learn more about occult or taboo subjects and knowledge which is not in the mainstream domain. You will also possibly be able to build and expand on your home perimeters by capitalizing on profits from other people's resources, or it can simply mean that you will be lucky in attaining monetary help or a loan. When Jupiter aspects your 10th house with its 7th aspect, it shows that you will now be lucky in terms of how you will network and connect with people who are your superiors at work. You will be perceived favorably and positively by others, which will help you in furthering your career prospects and success. When Jupiter aspects your 12th house with its 9th aspect, it shows that you can actually travel abroad during this time period to even pursue some sort of educational courses which bring a dramatic shift to your religious, spiritual, and philosophical belief systems. You will also have to stay vigilant of not going overboard with your budget for some home renovation or constructions, as it can lead to more money being consumed than you intended into unnecessary losses. Be careful in how you ideate and communicate with your family, especially regarding your plans for home. For you, the transit of Jupiter is going to be through your third house of self-efforts and communication. This means that for you, this transit will usher a new sense of positive correlation between your self-worth and self-efforts. You will positively associate your hard work to your identity rather than being critical based on outcomes. You will come across to others who communicate with you to be self-actualized and confident in your abilities. This will in turn boost your communicational skills, especially those undertaken in the online realm. You could also be interested to learn more, to progress and upskill, which can create new friends and new interactions online. You can also engage in short distance travels with your siblings during this period. There can also be someone who basically comes in contact with you and sort of mesmerizes you about their efficiency, hence creating a mentor-mentee bond. But you need to be careful as to whom you trust online or on any other of your travels, as Jupiter is not alone in your third house, but rather is conjunct with Rahu's obsessive unconventional focus. Hence, it can also show that such mentors can influence you through false promises of smoke and mirrors. So don't trust their flowery words. Instead, focus on their actions and intentions. Be extra cautious of such people acquired through online connections and communicational channels. Jupiter has three aspects that it makes from the third house, and these are firstly to your seventh house by its fifth aspect. This means that you will possibly gain some connections online into romantic or business partnerships. But as already mentioned before, you have to exercise caution in trusting people online. You will work hard towards achieving some goals that you can lead to better business prospects. Your communication with your partners will turn positive and exciting. You can also like to communicate with your partners about unconventional religious, spiritual, or philosophical beliefs and values to find balance and peace in such partnerships. Secondly, Jupiter makes its seventh aspect onto your ninth house, which shows that you will work hard on aligning your personal identity to your religious or spiritual or philosophical beliefs and values by learning more about them and also possibly undertaking long distance travels to indulge in such discovery. Also, individuals pursuing their higher education can find more positive results of their academic efforts during this time. The importance you place on resonance of such belief systems with the reciprocity in your relationships will increase as you actively communicate with your partners. Importance of similarity and synchronicity in terms of shared beliefs becomes paramount. Lastly, Jupiter makes its ninth aspect onto the 11th house, showing that you can get lucky in terms of making a direct correlation between the outcome of your hard work to being able to make more financial gains, and this will be a positive omen for your wish fulfillment as long as you do not lose hope and drive of achieving your dreams and aspirations. You will develop a larger community of network circle that shares similar set of religious, spiritual and philosophical beliefs and values as you. For you, Jupiter being the planetary lord of your sign and transiting through your second house provides an exponentially positive omen in terms of being able to grow your financial savings and stability, as well as making positive reinforcements in your relations to family and their set of values regarding religious, spiritual, and philosophical beliefs. This also shows that you will be able to communicate your knowledge of finances and religious or spiritual or philosophical beliefs to a larger audience, starting possibly from your own family. Your input and speech will be regarded positively at this time. You can also experience a shift in your eating habits during this period. Most importantly, you will be able to increase your finances and even possibly your family by inclusion of your progeny or child. But as this Jupiter is not alone here but conjunct with Rahu's obsessive unconventional focus, hence it can also show that in terms of expanding your family unit, you could have to undertake assisted fertility resources and methods to reach that goal in life. Stay cautious on how you speak on topics related to finance and whose advice from the family do you take on financial matters, as you could possibly be misguided while trying to obsess over making more money. Jupiter has three aspects that it makes from the second house, and these are firstly to your sixth house by its fifth aspect. This means that you will undertake new life skills and learnings to improve your financial and communicational skills, which will ultimately help you to have a positive image at work and increase your productivity and in turn your financial profits. People will regard your experience and knowledge positively at the workplace. Be thorough in your research if you plan on taking any financial loans. Make a cost analysis by equating it with your financial savings in order to make better informed decisions about repayments. Don't let your pride of your knowledge hinder your work relations. Secondly, Jupiter makes its seventh aspect onto your eighth house, which shows that you will possibly gain some sort of financial aid in times of distress. So it makes the probability of you actually attaining the loan and profiting from it an assured outcome. Focus on bridging the gap between your need of unpredictability and security. You can also gain that financial aid on account of someone in your family extending an unexpected lending hand. Lastly, Jupiter makes its ninth aspect onto the 10th house, showing that you can be deemed lucky in terms of how you can catapult your career progress and financial gains. You can be given opportunity at work to excel and lead your colleagues because your communicational prowess and knowledge dispersion. Focus on how you communicate with your superiors as they can be inclined to give you mentor advice on finances and work. Exercise balance between taking others' advice and doing what you understand is the best option for you. Integrate both approaches and find the optimum solution. And with discussing the personalized predictions for all 12 zodiac signs regarding the impact of transit of Jupiter in the sign of Aries, we come to the end of this video. I hope you resonated with the predictions shared for your sign, and if so, then do not forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with other videos released on the channel. We will be discussing the monthly predictions of May for all zodiac signs in the next video. I will see you soon. Until then, take care, you all.